The following program is a Town of Colonie television production of the William K. Sanford Town Library.
Hello everyone and welcome to Young at Heart. This is a production of the Colonie Town Library, and the good people here in the town of Colonie allow us to come here once a month, sometimes twice a month if we have Assemblymember McDonald on or Assemblymember Pat Fahey on for special legislative update. But this is Young at Heart. It is part of Age-Friendly Albany County, which is a program that we got into through the World Health Organization and the National AARP at the request of County Executive Dan McCoy. We were accepted into the program. It's a 5-year program. We're working hard to find out the needs and wants of the citizens of Albany County so that we can make Albany County truly age-friendly for every age, from cradle to career and then beyond. So we bring you this program every month to talk about things that would be interesting to people that are starting to get up to my age, senior citizens and their families, because there are a lot of problems that families have sometimes that they don't get a lot of information on things that they need to know. Today my guest is the director of the Albany County Long-Term Care Council, which is kind of a collaboration of a lot of different agencies, and it's under the Department of Social Services. My guest today is Director Viola Lipscomb. Welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Now, long-term care is really the thing now. It used to be somebody gets older and unfortunately in the United States they used to throw them away into a nursing home, you know, because of the difficulties that they would have. What exactly does the Long-Term Care Council do?
So the Long-Term Care Council is made up of a bunch of community stakeholders, volunteers, peer advocates, government agency, I would say decision makers, and we get together quarterly to discuss our long-term care system, gaps and barriers that we may see or encounter while trying to provide services to our older adults, people of any age with disabilities, and their caregivers.
So it's not just for seniors?
It is not.
It's for anybody that would have to possibly go into a facility but wants to stay in their home? Correct,
and the people that help keep them in their home. We know that caregiver burnout is very real. They face high levels of stress, and they're in need of some respite and services also to help keep their loved ones at home.
So let me ask you this question, because I get the question a lot at the Department for Aging when a person who is a caregiver will call me and say, you know, my sister is with my mother all the time and I think she's getting sicker than my mother is. What are some of the answers that you would give that person?
Well, now with New York Connects, which is how people will access long-term services and supports in Albany County, and we can get into that later.
Okay.
But now with New York Connects, we have what we call a No Wrong Door screen, where we can assess not only the person in need of services, but also the caregivers, find out what their strengths, what their abilities, what their limitations are, and help look at the picture holistically to see what we can help with. Respite is a big part of it, so if that person just needs a break, we could try to find respite programs, and respite can be in the form of adult daycare. It could come in the form of maybe the home delivered meals. Maybe even making a meal might be cumbersome for some people. So we can look at the big picture and find out what they are interested in having to give them a little reprieve.
What if somebody says, I need to get away, I need to go away for a couple days? Are there programs that can facilitate that? Or is that difficult?
Well, are we facilitating their getaway or just the person that's in need of the services?
For them to get away for a couple days.
Okay, the caregiver, no. We don't send the caregiver anywhere per se, but the care receiver, we can contact one of our organizations that actually will allow a person to come in for up to 2 weeks and see if they have availability so that caregiver can, maybe go on a vacation or to, step away for a little while.
They have to go to a wedding away, something like that.
Right, exactly. Or they may want to do a staycation and just need that little respite.
See, that's something that you don't hear about many places, is that there are possibilities if you need to get away for more than a couple hours, and you need to have somebody come over and stay with your loved one or your friend, that there are possibilities that you can actually do that.
There are. Yeah.
Okay. Now, so the Long-Term Care Council meets every quarter, but you're busy all the time because I see you running around.
Yes.
What do you do in between those quarters?
So in between, a big part of my job is outreach and public education. So I will visit our senior and disabled housing buildings. I will even reach out to professionals, and we started targeting, churches, agencies that work with people with limited English proficiencies, and also our schools, to let them know about New York Connects, what services and programs are out there, what the Albany County Department for Aging offers, because we feel a big part of keeping your loved one in their home and in their community is that you have to know what's available to help you do that.
And where do you go for these things? You said schools and
Yep.
and to senior centers?
Senior centers, yep, absolutely. So I'll reach out to even our towns, Colonie, Bethlehem, Guilderland, to see if they would like me to come and do a presentation on New York Connects and long-term services and supports. Also, congregate meal sites. I've asked to visit those locations. I've even been to adult day programs and gave presentations there as well.
Now I'm going to throw you a hook, because I had a phone call the other day, and it was a member of the press, and said, are there any programs in Albany County for shoveling snow? Because this person said that shoveling snow is one of the big killers of older people in the wintertime. Do you know if there are any programs for free snow shoveling through any of the organizations?
That I know of, Tom, no. However, for people who do choose to get involved in the umbrella program, that might be an option for them. That's a program that allows homeowners to pay a sliding scale fee, and they can benefit from having assistance with their home maintenance, whether it be indoors or outdoors. So they might contract with a lawn care company to do that year-round maintenance for them. In terms of the free service, I'm not aware of any, but I don't see why we can't, partner with the high schools or middle schools and get kids to do community service and volunteer their time in that sense. And that way we're helping older adults, we're saving money, and we're doing something good for the community.
Or the Boy Scouts of America.
Exactly.
Or our great friend Sheriff Craig Apple, who I know has an inmate community service program.
Why not? Yeah.
Or the probation department as community service. Any of those I think would be
Community
pretty
collaboration would be key in that sense.
Yeah,
Yes.
and that's what we're looking for all the time is private-public partnerships, that we can partner with other agencies and nonprofits and things like that to provide these vital services to people.
Exactly.
Because you're always hearing in the wintertime about an old person went out, shoveled snow, and had a heart attack. And so when the snow comes, do what I do. Don't do anything, because well, you need to
Wait for it to melt.
Yeah, that's what Mayor Corning used to say. God put it there, God will take it away. That's why Albany streets were so bad at one time. Okay, so that would be one thing that would come under long-term care, though, I would think.
Correct.
And under New York Connects and the Umbrella Program. Can you tell me about that?
Well, the umbrella program is something that's offered. I believe the town of Colonie runs that program, and they have expanded it outside of Colonie area. So an individual can give them a call, and I would say call Colonie Senior Resource Department and just say they're interested in the umbrella program and how they can go about joining. I know they can get connected with plumbers, electricians, like I said, outdoor maintenance crews, and I believe it's on a sliding scale fee. So depending on what their income is, they will have to pay a yearly fee. I'm not sure if it's set or if it's sliding scale. That's where I'm not sure. But they're definitely more than welcome to give Albany County New York Connects a call, and we can help link them with that service or program.
So you call one of our former guests, Chris Carey, who's the Director of Senior Services in the town of Colonie. Her number's on the website. Just go to Google townofcolony.org or Senior Services in the town of Colonie. You can find that out and check the umbrella program. It might be in your vicinity. If you live in the town of Colonie, it's definitely in the town of Colonie.
Correct.
Is it just for seniors, do you know?
I want to say yes, but I'm not 100% sure, because maybe even someone with a disability might be able to access it.
And somebody who wants to volunteer could do that,
and
too.
someone who wants to volunteer can
Okay,
as well.
well, that's great. I have a question about the congregate meals. Now,
Yes.
how important is it for people? Congregate meals are not for people that necessarily can't afford to eat or anything like that.
Correct.
A big part of that, I mean, there's two parts of it, the meal and the congregate. The congregate is almost as important as the meal itself. Why is that?
I don't think a lot of people realize how much social isolation is a big factor in the decline of our older adults. The congregate piece of it allows people to go to an environment where they're actually socializing. They're getting the meal while they're doing it, and they're getting out and talking to different people and meeting people and not sitting in their homes, alone. And I feel like the congregate piece of it really does help foster healthy aging for people who may not have family or friends to stop by and check on them.
And we will also provide transportation if they don't have transportation to their. I think the CDTA partners will provide transportation if you want to go to a congregate meal site. How do people find out where those meal sites are?
We have a listing on our Albany County Department for Aging website, and they can always call Albany County New York Connects, and we can mail them out a listing as well.
Now, there are a number of meal sites in the town of Colonie and in the town of Bethlehem. The town of Colonie and the city of Albany. I think there's meal sites in just about every
throughout Albany
city,
County.
town, and village.
Correct. Even our hill towns.
Yeah, Bern has a great site, and Green Island, Cohoes, Watervliet. So if you I think it's very affordable, right? If you don't have to pay anything if you're over 65 years old.
60 years old.
60 years old. But if you want to,
you could
and you have money, you can donate.
Correct.
And it comes in a sealed envelope, so nobody has to be embarrassed or anything like that. And the food is all nutritious. They follow the FDA guidelines.
Correct.
We do have a nutritionist
at the Albany County Department for Aging.
And I think Denise Kolonkowski is our nutritionist. I want to get her on this show, but she's a little bit skittish about coming on TV, she said.
Understandable.
Yeah, I know. But I think she does nutrition education also.
Oh, absolutely she does. She will meet with the person. I mean, if they're comfortable or coming to the home, I'm sure she could do a home visit. She could talk to them over the phone. People who have dietary restrictions, like if they're diabetic or if they've had a major medical condition and they have to watch what they eat in terms of intake quantity and things like that, she will definitely meet with them either in person or over the phone and help them.
Now, what was your job before you went to long-term care?
Before I became the long-term care coordinator, my first 5 years with Albany County Department of Social Services, I was adult protective caseworker.
Oh, okay.
And then back in 2011, I went into New York Connects and was a senior caseworker. And basically, I did the ISEP assessments and home delivered meals assessments, as well as Medicaid-funded home care assessments.
Now, we hear a lot about ISEP, and ISEP is designed to take care of things that you might not think about for regular services. What exactly? It's expanded in-home services, but what exactly is that?
Basically, ISEP is a program that is designed for people who are 60 years of age and older, who live in Albany County and do not have Medicaid. And what it will do, it's task-based, so you have to have a need for at least 2 tasks. And when I say 2 tasks, let's say laundry or meal prep or light house cleaning.
It's not medical.
It's non-medical program,
right.
Correct. So we don't require doctor's orders or anything to participate in that program. But it's basically to offer that extra assistance for someone who's living in their home. And again, we want to promote the independent living as long as they do so safely. And ISEP is a program that will help push that along.
Cleaning, grooming.
Cleaning, if they need, we have the 2 levels of care. So you have your level 1, which is your hands off, as we like to call it. You just might need them to help you around the house with the light cleaning, your laundry, maybe some meal preparation or medication reminders. And then there's the level 2 assistance where it's actually hands-on. So they may help you transfer in and out the shower, in and out the tub. They can help you dress, groom, even apply, if they need help applying their lotions or putting on their socks. We can allow that under ISEP as well.
All right, so that's another program that you might not be familiar with, but you could get that through the New York Connects.
Correct. And the other component to ISEP is actually the consumer-directed piece, which a lot of people may not be aware of. Most people aren't comfortable having a stranger come into their home and provide that assistance. Well, for those who would like to utilize someone that they know and trust, there's the consumer-direct piece where they can say, I would like for my, niece or grandchild or next-door neighbor to provide that care. And that just means that the consumer is directing that care. They are the ones who hire, who train, who fire, and will actually keep track of the hours that we allot for the services and tasks.
All right, so somebody says, I want my grandson to do this for me.
Correct.
All right, and he hires a grandson. Does he have to be approved by you?
No, the grandson does not need to be approved by us per se. We just need to know that we require that they have a backup. The grandson would then work with a fiscal intermediary who is chosen by the client. We have a list of those as well, and they basically manage the timesheets and make sure the aid gets paid. But for the most part, the client is self-directing in that. They pick and choose who they want.
And does the county pay that person?
It does come from
aid?
the ISEP funds. Yes,
Okay,
they are.
so-
Yeah.
All right. Now, another thing, because we have younger people that are watching this, are certified nursing assistants, CNAs, or home health aides. I was told that there's a crisis throughout the state, that there's not enough home health aides to take care of the needs of the people that need ISEP services. True?
That is very true.
Okay.
It's not just a local crisis, it's actually a national crisis. And we just don't have enough people entering that field to sustain the people who actually need the service. So, you know, Consumer Direct is a great option to try to combat that crisis. But again, you know, there's a lot more people who need the help than we have those who can provide it.
And the phone number for the New York Connects, which is like the umbrella program for all of the things that we were talking about,
Yeah.
too, it's 447-7177.
Correct.
That's 518-447-7177. If you have anything that you want to ask about, not just for seniors, but handicapped also, or is it just for seniors?
People with disabilities of any
Okay.
age. So we literally say from the cradle to the grave, if you have a disability, we will work with them and their caregivers.
Okay.
Those are our three core populations. Professionals can call us as well. So we get a lot of calls from discharge planners, social workers who want to know what's out there, or can we help a person. New York Connects does an array of things for our community, where if people call and they need help completing the application, whether it be for Medicaid, SNAP, they have questions about their high cap, we have people we can link them with who can help answer those questions, so it doesn't seem like a tedious process just for them to get help.
And these folks are all trained, and they're caseworkers.
They're all
basically.
caseworkers, yeah, bachelor's
Okay.
level education.
All right.
Correct.
So that's something that we have in Albany County. Actually, it's throughout the state. New York Connects is in almost every county, right? in the
Well,
state of New
actually,
York?
every county now is required to have it, and Albany County New York Connects has been around since 2007.
Okay.
And in 2014, there was a big expansion. They wanted to expand it both geographically and functionally. So what they said was that every county in New York State needs to have a New York Connects. And the functional piece was we just used to do a lot of information assistance referrals. Now they increased it to the application assistance, care transitions, person-centered counseling, and we incorporated this no wrong door, individualized screen, as well as access to our resource directory.
Are there RNs that are actually working in New York Connects?
We do have a couple of RNs that work for New York Connects, yes. And they will do a big portion of our home delivered meals assessments, correct.
So the home delivered meals assessment, they will determine whether a person actually needs a home delivered meal or not,
And how many, yes.
and how many meals.
Correct.
Okay. And what can they get for home delivered meals? So they just get lunch?
They can get a lunch and a dinner.
Okay.
So we call it a hot and a cold. And the nurse will go out, you know, that is a more of a restricted program because we can't service people who have allergies, simply
Okay.
because although the food is cooked fresh on site, it's mass produced, so they can't accommodate a lot of dietary needs or restrictions. So the nurse will go out and make sure there's no food allergies, go over the medications with them, even though it's not medical, but they still want to make sure there's no, issues with that. And they'll also find out what the person's functional level is and see, are you able to stand and make yourself a sandwich? If so, then maybe you just need a hot meal. If standing up at the counter to make a sandwich is an issue, then we will sometimes put in 2 meals. And they can get it up to 7 days per week.
They can get 7 days per week?
Yeah.
Well, does somebody actually deliver to them on the weekends, or do they get it on Friday for Saturday and Sunday?
Great question, Tom. We actually will deliver them Monday through Friday.
Okay.
So what they will then get is a frozen meal that they can heat up in the microwave for the weekends.
I wonder if they'll ever expand it to, I've often said, because I've worked in aging for quite a while, and I've often said that problems don't stop at 5 o'clock on a Friday.
That's correct.
But unfortunately, the funding streams doesn't necessarily allow for the weekend providers to go out.
Right.
And hopefully someday that may be able to happen.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, we love the home delivered meals program because not only is it providing a nutritious meal for our seniors, but it's also allowing our drivers to lay eyes.
I was just going to ask you about that.
Yes, on people who may be a little more frail or vulnerable in their homes. So they will report back a lot of times they see the meals are building up. Well, maybe the person's not eating. Are they forgetting to eat? And then we will go out and do a little more of a in-depth microscopic assessment to see what's going on and what else we can do to intervene.
There was a driver in Albany County not too long ago who actually got an award because he very wisely investigated. He just knew something wasn't right because the person didn't come to the door like he did every day, and he had fallen and like they say on the thing, fallen and he couldn't get up, and he broke his hip. Now, if he found him on a Friday, if he went there on a Friday, didn't get an answer, and didn't go in, that guy could have been there for 3 days.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a great way for people to actually check on your loved one or your friends. What happens to people who are in an area where there aren't a lot of these services? Like you mentioned the hill towns before. The hill towns have, I know they have a congregate meal site.
Correct.
But I don't think the Meals on Wheels the home delivered meals goes all the way up there.
They do.
They do.
We just don't deliver as often.
Okay.
So when I was working in New York Connects, we would have home delivered meal providers who will, go that way. I believe as few as once a week up to 3 times a week, and they would just be provided more frozen meals than actual fresh.
Oh, so they actually give them the 7 days worth of meals if they want them, if they need them.
Exactly.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah.
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Now, I also know that, and this isn't really part of your program, but I do know that it is. We give shelf-stable meals, they're called, to different areas when they have blackouts and things like that.
Yes, if we know that maybe a storm is coming or some inclement weather is predicted, we will definitely provide shelf-stable meals to individuals who we know are able to get out and obtain groceries or stockpile themselves.
The problem with that is that a lot of the things like potato chips and stuff like that, they're eating during the whole week. So that when it comes time for the shelf-stable meals, they're like, well, I think I might have eaten a couple of them. So,
Right. Yes, that's
but they
correct.
replenish them.
It's okay.
They replenish them.
Yeah.
How important is it for safety checks on your neighbors? For whether or not you work for ISEP or you work for New York Connects, you're just a good neighbor.
I think that's very important. We don't know what's going on, between the 4 walls of our neighbors, whether it be next door, upstairs, downstairs. And one thing about Albany County, especially when it comes to abuse, neglect, exploitation, not even Albany County, I'm sorry, I misspoke. New York State, we do not have a mandatory reporting law. We are the only state in the country that does not have an adult protective mandatory reporting. So even for the sake of just checking on them to see if they need a service, or even checking on them to make sure they're not being abused or exploited or scammed, it goes such a long way. We really rely on, I would want to say, the graciousness of common people to look out for our vulnerable adults.
And also, if you see something, say something, because so often we're afraid to say something because we don't want to get involved. But when you're dealing with the people who need the services the most, which are frail elderly and our children, you really need to step up to the plate. If you're not right, there's no harm other than the fact, you actually made a statement that you don't want this to go on if it is going on.
And to your point, exactly. See something, say something. For every 1 case that we get of adult protective abuse, there's about 23, they say, that go unreported. And a lot of times, people don't know where to report, who to report to, or they're scared to report. But we also see that they don't want to turn their loved one or caregiver in because that's the person they're relying on for the help. But we want people to know that, we can help you and put in whatever services or support you were getting from the person who's abusing you. So we don't want you to rely on that caregiver at the sake of your safety.
Now, there are certain people that are never going to be able to, at some point, they're not going to be able to stay in their homes.
That is correct.
I think of dementia when I think of that, because that's almost an epidemic. If you look at the nursing homes, and we have, by the way, the Albany County Nursing Home has, it's a wonderful place. They had some problems for a while. We have a new executive director. They've just started a $60 million renovation up there. But they're not only a nursing home, they're there for rehabilitation also.
Correct.
They have a great rehab program. So if you're coming out of having a hip operation, or as I'm going to do pretty soon, have a knee operation, I'm going to go to the Albany County Nursing Home because they have a great rehab program up there. So it doesn't mean you're going to stay there. But there are people that are wanderers or whatever. They're abusive, and they really disturb the entire family if they stay in their home.
Right. I mean, the ultimate goal is to keep people in their homes safely. So if it ever came to the point where the person is no longer safe in their environment, we do want to start looking at other options, which may include long-term care placement. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what do you see as if you had a wish list and they said to you, Viola, we're going to take care of one problem that our senior population or our disabled have, what would it be?
Right now, because it's such a big issue, I would say the home care piece of it. A lot of our calls are people in need of those services and supports in their home. And if we don't have the workforce to sustain that, that may lead to more people entering long-term care facilities, which means higher costs for our Medicaid dollars. They discovered, a while ago that it's cheaper to keep people in their homes and communities. And if we're going to do that, we need to be able to have those services in place. And right now, our long-term care council is even looking at different ways we can make suggestions to our legislators on how we can recruit and retain more people in that field. We're even looking to work with other counties to see what ideas and initiatives we can come up with. So I would say that's a really important deal right now.
And it's an unusual problem because this is the opposite of most of our problems. Usually we have the people to perform the services but not the money. In this case, we have the money, but we don't have the people to perform the services. And I think that we've even offered more money to the agencies to pay their people. And
we renegotiated our rates. I mean, our county executive, Dan McCoy, is excellent with supporting the ISTEP program and adding more funds to that. So yes, financially, we're in a position to be able to provide the services. It's just that this national crisis is really touching us locally.
So what happens if somebody calls and needs a service and there's nobody to provide it? What do you do with that person?
We usually have people to provide it, it's taking longer.
Okay.
And we're really pushing for the consumer direct. Do you have someone? Do you know someone? Can you recruit at your churches? Can you ask your neighbors? We will really try to find ways. We might supplement it with an adult day program, whether it be social or medical, whatever their needs require, so that they are somewhere getting the services, even if they can't get them in their home.
And how important are the faith-based organizations in helping people stay in their homes? I mean, it seems like there are homeless shelters that they provide for people who are on the streets. There are a lot of the churches are the sponsors, not the sponsors, but they host the congregate meal sites sometimes.
They do.
So they are important.
They do, and they also offer some caregiver respite.
Right.
I've seen across the state where there are some churches who actually will start what they call a respite program for the caregivers, so that they can drop their loved ones off for 2 to 3 hours while they go shopping or get their hair done, or enjoy some of those luxuries that they can't do otherwise because they're meeting the needs of their loved ones.
Okay. Viola, I want to thank you.
Thank you.
We're at the end. It wasn't as bad as you thought it was going to be.
It was not.
The number for New York Connects is 447-7177. That's 518-447-7177. The number for the Albany County Department for Aging is 518-447-7198. The number for Age-Friendly Albany County is 518-447-2576. I'm Tom Scarff. We'll be back again next month for more of Young at Heart.